It's nighttime in the big city. A cop runs the license plate. I never tell the truth. It's Theme Time Radio Hour with your host, Bob Dylan.
This way for the Wild Animal Show.
Welcome to Theme Time Radio Hour. I want to say a special hello to all people listening, and also to our four-legged friends, any fish, insects, or other creatures who might be near our radio. If you're listening last week, you know we were focusing on Noah's Ark and the animal inhabitants therein. Well, there are plenty of animals in the world, and no shortage of songs about them. So here we are again, ready to play more songs about more animals. So don't be a jackass. We're gonna go ape. I'm gonna take the bull by the horns, play a little cat and mouse, shoot some fish in a barrel. I'm going hog wild, cause I'm crazy like a fox, proud as a peacock. So unless you're ugly as a toad, I'm ready to talk turkey. There'll be no weaseling out, as we have as much fun as a barrel of monkeys.
I'm just wild about animal crackers, I can't live without animal crackers, bears and tigers haunt me all day. And whenever I am at a swell cafe, say all I order is animal crackers, firecrackers won't do. Goodness gracious, I'm no chump, I just sit off a camel's hump. Animal crackers, I love you. Don't miss the big sideshow. Hey,
one place you can see a lot of animals is at the zoo. And if you're a member of the Meters, if you go down there, you might think they're asking for you. The Meters recorded this song in 1976, and it's one of their best remembered numbers. So here's Ziggy Modalist, Art Neville, Leo Nocentelli, and George Porter Jr. They're going down to the zoo, and guess what? They all ask for you.
Hey, Lamba, crawfish and toothfish. They all ask for you. I went on down to the Audubon Zoo, and they all ask for you. They all ask for you. For who? Well, they even inquired about you. I went on down to the Audubon Zoo, and they all asked for you. The monkey's ass, the tiger's ass, and the elephant asked me too. Oh, do it. Red bean rice. Red beans and rice, Creole gumbo. I went on up to the big old sky, and they all asked for you. For who? They all asked for you. Well, they even inquired about you. I went on up to the big old sky, and they all asked for you. The duck's ass, the eagle's ass, and the buzzard's ass. Do it, do it. Hey, Lamba. Hey, Lamba. And the boat rolling.
Fishing really too fake.
Wild willies and tomato paste.
see, and they all ask for you. They all ask for you. Well, they even inquire about you. I went on down to the deep blue sea, and they all ask for you. The shark asked, the whale asked, and the barracuda asked it too. They all ask for you, and the all ask for you, and the everybody there wanna know where they all ask for you. They all ask for you, and the all ask for you, and everybody there wanna know where they all ask for you.
That was the Meters. They all ask for you. Here on Theme Time Radio Hour, and we're just knocking about the zoo. I don't know how I feel about zoos. I mean, for a lot of people, it's the only chance they're gonna have to see a giraffe, or an elk, or a capybara. But the animal rights activists think that zoos are bad. They say they're like prisons for animals, being held against their will in a confined space, away from others of their own type and their own environment. And what have they done? Sound like they stole a car or something. They say it's not even educational. They say when you see an animal in a zoo, it's only a shell of the animal. The full wild nature of the animal muted by its locked up status. I mean, I always liked seeing the animals. Now I feel guilty. Coming up next, a wild, wild record on the specialty record label from a man by the name of Roddy Jackson. It's one of my 3 favorite songs about Nice. It's called Loose on the Loose.
Well, I went to a party the other night, and all at once I got a fright. I heard a crash and I ran outside. I took one look and I almost died. Then someone shouted, "Save your skin! The whole darn zoo is a coming in." There's a moose on the loose. There's a bear on the chair. Well, there's a monk on the bunk. There's a deer in the beer. If you think I was scared, no, not me. I climbed a tree. He climbed a tree. Oh, well, everyone began to run. Someone yelled, "Go get a gun!" An elephant broke right through the wall, and soon the rope began to fall. And then I heard a lion roar, and someone screaming at the door. There's a moose on the loose. Yes, and there's a bear on the chair. Well, there's a monk on the bunk. There's a deer in the beer. If you think I was scared, no, not me. I climbed a tree. He climbed a tree. Some guy was hanging from the chandelier, and man was he shook up with fear. A car drove up filled with police, and soon got we disturbed the peace. And then the judge asked, "What do you say?" I said, "Your Honor, is this way." There's a moose on the loose. Yes, and there's a bear on the chair. And you see there's a monk on the bunk. Your Honor, there's a deer in the beer. If you think I was scared, no, not me. I climbed a tree. He climbed a tree.
That was Roddy Jackson with Moose on the Loose. Now, Roddy Jackson and his song about a moose should not be confused with Bull Moose Jackson, the King Records recording artist who recorded Big 10-inch record, and also Elephant Taylor, who was a rival of Joseph Smith when Smith was starting his religion back in the 1800s. Many people confuse Elephant Taylor with noted jazz singer Elephant Joe, but we'll be clearing up all of these mysteries, including stories about Red Fox, Bobby Bear, the famous stand-up comic Gary Mule Deer, Richard Rabbit Brown, Eddie Rabbit, and world-famous poker champion Armadillo Slim.
Be Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the Tumtum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes aflame came whiffling through the tulgey wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumping back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous day, Callooh, Callay, he chortled in his joy.
Grace Slick wrote this next song for her original group, The Great Society, but she took it with her when she joined the Jefferson Airplane. No, it's not Somebody to Love. Her husband Darby wrote that. This one's called White Rabbit. She says she was inspired by hours and hours of listening to Miles Davis's Sketches of Spain. I'm going to have to listen closely and see if I can hear that in here. Grace said that she wrote this song to combine her favorite childhood fantasies and compare them to the drug journeys being taken up on Haight-Ashbury. Grace believed that telling children's stories like Alice in Wonderland with its mushrooms, The Wizard of Oz with its field of poppies, and Peter Pan, where characters can fly with a little pixie dust, would naturally lead the young adults to experiment with drugs. As she put it, you wonder why we do it? Well, what did you read to me? Here's the result. White Rabbit.
One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small, and the ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all. Go ask Alice when she's 10 feet tall. And if you go chasing rabbits and you know you're going to fall, tell 'em a hookah, smoking caterpillar has given you the call. Call Alice. She was just small. When the men on the chessboard get up and tell you where to go, and you just had some kind of mushroom, and your mind is moving on. Go ask Alice, I think she'll know. When logic and proportion have fallen slowly dead, and the white knight is talking backwards, and the red queen's on her head, remember what the Dormouse said. Keep your
That was Grace Slick telling us to feed our heads. That's not a direct quotation from the Dormouse, by the way. Another famous rabbit could only be seen by Jimmy Stewart. His name was Harvey, and he was the imaginary 6'8" rabbit that was a figment of Elwood P. Dowd's mind. Elwood was played by Jimmy, and his society-minded sister tried to put him away in a mental institution. He loved Harvey, though. Finally, he was given a choice whether or not to take a shot of medicine that would keep him from ever seeing the giant rabbit again. He wouldn't take the medicine. He decided he would rather have an individual quirk that makes him happy over a life of conformity and normalcy. Another blow struck for the nonconformist. We've talked about Leroy Carr and how he was an urban bluesman, benefited greatly from the development of the microphone. He and his partner Scrapper Backwell performed both sad, quiet blues and energetic, humorous songs. This one's more in the second camp. It's from the early 30s, and it's called Carried Water for the Elephant.
Circus came to town, to the circus I went. Didn't have a ticket, didn't have a cent. circus man said to see the shore without a cent, you got to carry water for the elephant. I carried water for the elephant, back and forth to the well I went. Arms got sore and my back got bent, but I couldn't fill up the elephant. I says to the man with a standing up collar, bet for a bit that elephant's a holler. He gave me a ticket, says first you'll see the animals in the menagerie. First I saw a lion and the lion he roared. Aroo! Saw the wild duck and the wild duck quacked. Quack, quack, quack. Saw the wild cat and the wild cat meowed. Meow, meow. Saw the old crow and the old crow called. Saw Mr. Possum sitting on a limb, big black bear sitting next to him. Saw the old monkey like in a zoo, and a wild rooster says cock-a-doodle-doodle-doo. Saw the hippopotamus splash in the water, trying to flirt with a crocodile's daughter. Saw the giraffe and a big kangaroo. Saw an owl holler, hoo, hoo, hoo. Saw the wild birds and the birds sing sweet, tweet, tweet, tweet. Saw the wild dogs and the wild dogs bark, ow, ow, ow. Saw the cuckoo and the cuckoo cooed, cuckoo, cuckoo. Saw the hyena and the hyena laughed, ha, ha, ha. I went down to the circus tent, sure am doggone glad I went. Saw the whole show didn't cost a cent, cost a cat water for the elephant.
Leroy Carr, along with Scrapperback, well, Leroy knew what he was singing about. One of the odd jobs he had was in a circus. He was also a bootlegger. Served time in prison in 1925 for bootlegging, but I don't know if he wrote any songs about that. This is Theme Time Radio Hour, and we believe the same thing Thornton Wilder did. The best thing about animals is they don't talk much. Voltaire was an animal lover, and he cited these advantages. They never hear the clock tick. They die without any idea of death. Their last moments are not disturbed by unwelcome and unpleasant ceremonies. Their funerals cost him nothing, and no one starts lawsuits over their wills. Walt Whitman had a very similar idea in mind when he said, I think I can turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self-contained. I stand and look at them long and long. They do not sweat and whine about their condition. They do not lie awake in the dark and weep for their sins. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. No one is dissatisfied. Not one is demented with the mania of owning things. Not one kneels to another, nor to his kind that lived thousands of years ago. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth. Walt Whitman, Poet Unleashed. Entertainment history is full of stories about educated animals. On his 1972 album, Sail Away, Randy Newman wrote about one of these acts. Here he is, telling you all about Simon Smith and the amazing dancing bear.
I may go out tomorrow if I can borrow a coat to wear. Oh, I step out in style with my sincere smile and my dancing bear, outrageous, alarming, courageous, charming. Oh, who would think a boy and bear could be well accepted? Every just amazing how fair people can be. Seen at the nicest places where well-fed faces all stop to stare, making the grandest entrance is Simon Smith in his dancing bear. They'll love us, won't they? They feed us, don't they? Oh, who would think a boy in bear could be well except everywhere? It's just amazing how fair people can be. When you're funny, big attraction everywhere will be Simon Smith and his dancing bear. Is Simon Smith and the amazing dancing bear.
That was Simon Smith and the Amazing Dancing Bear. You know, animals of all types appeared in vaudeville. Horses, pigs, cats, dogs, bears, elephants, monkeys, and birds. Some of the most famous vaudeville acts included Laura Comstock's Bag-Punching Dog, Professor Leonardo's Troop of Cats and Dogs, and Dumbo the Trained Elephant. Theater owners loved these animal acts. They were called dumb acts, and they'd be put either first or last on the bill. This allowed the theater owner to start the show or end the show while the people were either coming in or going out. This way, noise from the audience talking and looking for their seats wouldn't destroy the act. I ran into Ricky Jay at Target and I asked him about animal acts. He told me about a wild one. I'm not even going to tell you what kind of animals used because they'll let them surprise you.
Well, Bob, when you speak about learned animals, I think most people's imagination goes to dogs or horses or pigs, but it's interesting that even insects have been trained in some famous acts. Wildman's bees. He was a circus rider who rode around the rink with 5 swarms of bees surrounding his face, and on a given command, they would separate so he could drink from a glass of wine. Bob, I know you were a fan of Hubert's Museum on 42nd Street, where Professor Roy G. Heckler had his famous trained flea circus. He had 13 fleas. That was 3 principals and 10 understudies, and they would perform 4 separate acts. Since the 16th century, there have been instances of men capturing fleas and making them do their bidding. It's said that over the years, fleas have been exhibiting rationality sufficient to ride a toboggan, impersonate Napoleon, or reenact the siege of Antwerp.
Thanks a lot, Ricky. That's insane. Charlie Waller was in a group with Buzz Busby called the Bayou Boys. The Bayou Boys were in a terrible car accident in 1957. Charlie Waller put together a new group. That band evolved and became the Country Gentlemen. Charlie on guitar and singing, along with mandolin player John Duffy, banjo player Bill Emerson, and Tom Morgan on the bass. Here they are, 1970, singing about the fox on the run.
She walks through the corn leading down to the river. Her hair shone like gold in the hot morning sun. She took all the love that a poor boy could give her and left me to die like a fox on the run. Like a fox, like a fox, like a fox on the run. Everybody knows the reason for the fall. When woman tempted man down in paradise's home. This woman tempted me and took me for a ride. Like the lonely fox, I need a place to hide. the hot morning sun. She took all the love that a poor boy could give her and left me to die like a fox on the run. Like a fox, like a fox, like a fox on the run.
That was Fox on the Run, the Country Gentleman. Fox hunting has been around for over 300 years. The training of hounds to hunt foxes came about after the restoration of King Charles II in 1660. The huntsman would cry, "Ty-o," back in the days of stag hunting. This was anglicized to tally-ho, a phrase you often hear in fox hunts. By the mid-1700s, Whigs began to caricature the country gentry as ill-educated buffoons whose sole occupation was fox hunting. Farmers didn't mind it though, as the hunters gave them a method of getting rid of an animal that they saw as a pest. People who hate fox hunting say that using dogs to hunt them is cruel and unnecessary. And finally in 2005, an act of parliament made it illegal to use dogs for fox hunting.
S is for sea lion. Let's listen to his bark.
This is Theme Time Radio Hour, tripping through the various phylum and finding songs wherever we look. For example, Nina Simone is going to tell us all about the sea lion woman.
All right. Sea lion woman, she drink coffee, she drink tea, and then go home. Sea lion woman, dressed in green, wear silk stockings with golden seams. Sea lion woman, dressed in red, make a man lose his head. Sea lion woman, black dress on for $1,000. She wails and she moans. Sea lion woman, wiggle, her like a cat. Wink at a man and he wink back. Now, child, sea lion woman, empty his pockets and wreck his days. Make him love her and shoot my way. And she wreck his days, and she make him love her, and she shoot fly away. She got a black dress on for $1,000. She wail and she.
There she was, young, gifted, and black, Nina Simone, Sea Lion Woman. Here's another strong-willed woman, and I mean that in the best possible way. Here's a song by Joni Mitchell from an album she did with a title that's the Arabic word "Flight from a Dream." The word is Hajira. This song, Coyote, was one of the favorites from it. Here's Joni Mitchell, and she's singing about a coyote, maybe of the two-legged variety.
No regrets, Coyote. We just come from such different sets of circumstance. I'm up all night in the studios, and you're up early on your ranch. You'll be brushing out a broodmare's tail while the sun is ascending, and I'll just be getting home with my reel-to-reel. There's no comprehending just how close to the bone and the skin and the eyes and the lips you can get, and still feel so alone, and still feel related, like stations in some relay. You're not a hit and run driver, no, no. Racing away. You just picked up a hitcher, prisoner of the white lines on the freeway. Saw a farmhouse burning down in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night. We rolled right past that tragedy till we turned into some roadhouse lights where a local band was playing. Locals were up kicking and shaking on the floor. The next thing I know, that coyote's at my door. He pins me in a corner and he won't take no. He drags me out on the dance floor and we're dancing close and slow. Now he's got a woman at home. He's got another woman down the hall. He seems to want me anyway. Why'd you have to get so drunk and lead me on that way? You just picked up a hitcher, a prisoner of the white lines on the freeway. Right in the face on the road to Valjenny near my old hometown. He went running through the whisker weed, chasing some prize down, and a hawk was playing with him. Coyote was jumping straight up and making passes, and those same eyes just like yours under your dark glasses, privately probing the public rooms, peeking through keyholes in numbered doors, where the players lick their wounds and take their temporary lovers and their pills and powders to get them through this passion play. No regrets, Coyote, I just get off a programs. You just pick up a hitcher, a prisoner of the white lines on the freeway. Coffee shop. He's staring a hole in his scrambled eggs. He picks up my scent on his fingers while he's watching the waitress's legs. He's too far from the Bay of Fundy, from Appaloosas and eagles and tides, and the air-conditioned cubicles and the carbon ribbon rides are spelling it out so clear. Either he's gonna have to stand and fight or take off out of here. I tried to run away myself, to run away and wrestle with my ego. This flame you put here in this Eskimo, in this hitcher, in this prisoner of the fine white lines, of the white lines on the free.
Joni Mitchell and Coyote, an animal related to the dog and found in all parts of the United States, except for Hawaii. They're a very vocal animal. It uses a long howl to let other members of the pack know where it is. It uses a short barks to warn of danger. They also growl when establishing dominance, whine and whimper when they are establishing bonds. They produce high-pitched barks to summon puppies, and sometimes late at night, when they're all relaxing, they sing Joni Mitchell songs. A little while ago, Levi Carr mentioned a possum in his song about bringing water to the elephants. Well, I like possums. I think they deserve their own song, so I'm gonna play one for you. It's sung by Johnny Ferdinand Mercer, but he didn't write it. It was written by W. Dunham and T. Shan. It seems odd. I only know the first initials of the writers, but I even know Johnny's middle name. No telling from what you remember. Here's Johnny Mercer and the Possum Song.
6 tall, slim, slick, sycamore sapling, possum up a tree. Somewhere up in one of those saplings, possum laughing at me. Hound dog baying, know what he's saying, possum on a limb. He done hidden one of them saplings, I'll get even with him. Get a going feet, gotta run, get my gun, beat it over yonder to the holler. Moon is shining bright on the treetops tonight, possum ain't far, the 6 tall, slim, slick, sycamore sapling, possum on the loose. He's been stealing all of my chickens, now I'll cook his goose. Possum knows he's in a jam, he'd go good with candied yams. Doggone tootin', sure as I'm shootin', possum falling for me. Possum, you steal one more of my Plymouth Rocks, we gonna have 2 possums in every pot. You hear me? 6 tall, slim, slick, sycamore saplings, possum up a tree. Somewhere up in one of those saplings, possum's laughing at me. Hound dog baying, know what he's saying, possum on a limb. He done hidden one of those saplings, I'll get even with him. Get a going feet, gotta run, get my gun, beat it over yonder to the holler. Moon is shining bright on the treetops tonight, possum ain't far, the 6 tall, slim, slick, sycamore sapling, possum on the loose. He's been stealing all of my chickens, now I'll cook his goose. Possum knows he's in a jam, he'd go good with a candied yam. Doggone tootin', sure as I'm shootin', possum is falling for me.
That was the Possum Song by Johnny Mercer. Possums are the only marsupial, that means a mammal with a pouch, that is found in the United States and Canada. They're excellent tree climbers and spend most of the time up in the air. They have sharp claws, which can dig into the bark, and they have a prehensile, gripping tail. They can use that like an extra limb. And we all know the expression playing possum, meaning pretending you're dead. Also, the famed country singer George Jones had the nickname of Possum, not because he played dead, but because he kind of looked like one. This is Theme Time Radio Hour, your home for barking dreams, roaring themes, and slithering schemes. Climb aboard Noah's Ark with us. It's a musical menagerie, animalistically speaking, where animals are king. Man is sprung from animals. The problem is, some of us have not sprung far enough. There's a song that tells us that story by Toots and the Maytals. We're gonna tell you all about the Monkey Man.
Big monkey man, I seen a sign of you. I only heard that you hugging up the big monkey man. He's not live, he's not live. Them a tell me hugging up the big monkey man. He's not live, he's not live. Them a tell me hugging up the big monkey man. Now I know that, now I understand. Turning a monkey on me. No, I know that. No, I understand. up the big monkey man. I've seen no sign of you, I only hear that you hugging up the big monkey man. He's not lying, them a tell me. Hugging up the big monkey man. He's not lying, them a tell me. Hugging up the big monkey man. No, I know that, no, I understand. You're turning a monkey on me. No, I know that, no, I understand. You're turning a monkey on me. See you, baby, hugging up that big monkey man. Tell you, baby, hugging up that big monkey man. I see no sign of you, I only hear that you hugging up that big monkey man. I see no sign of you, I only heard that you hugging up that big monkey man. He's not lying, tell you, baby, hugging up that big monkey man.
That was Toots and the Maytals, Monkey Man. I think that might have been produced by the Chinese-Jamaican producer, Leslie Kahn. Chinese-Jamaican, that'd be a good kind of food. Get myself some General Tso's jerk chicken. Monkeys have been very helpful through history, perhaps none more helpful as helping hands. The Monkey Helpers for the Disabled. This is a national non-profit organization. It serves quadriplegics and other people with severe spinal cord injuries. They give these people highly trained monkeys to assist with daily activities. It takes years of training to train a monkey to do a multitude of tasks, and the tasks sometimes change. For example, monkeys recently had to be taught how to turn on and load computers and CD players, while they were able to stop teaching them how to place a record on a turntable. These monkeys are amazingly smart and amazingly loyal. Hats off to the people at Helping Hands for bringing monkeys into these people's lives.
If they push that button, kiss your ass.
Kiss your ass.
Goodbye. Kiss your ass.
Kiss your ass.
Goodbye. They talking about nuclear war.
Talking about
nuclear war.
The 50s were a scary time. The threat of atomic bombs hung over everyone's head. People dealt with it in unusual ways. In 1951, civil defense pamphlets said that atomic blasts create fires, and they advised a clean building seldom burns. People actually believed that keeping a tidy home would protect them from atomic devastation. At school, kids were told to duck and cover, as if hiding under your desk could save you. To be fair, no one really knew about nuclear fallout at that point. It wasn't until 1954, when they did tests at the Marshall Islands, that they saw how bad radiation sickness could be. But even after they knew, they kept the duck and cover propaganda going. They thought it kept the country focused, afraid, and alert. It downplayed the real horror of a nuclear war, allowing people to think that such a thing could actually be won. And that's when three songwriters, two Leos and a Leon, Leon Carr, Leo Corday, and Leo Langlois, stepped in. They wrote a song called Duck and Cover. It was used in an educational film with a turtle by the name of Bert, who was trying to protect himself from a monkey with firecrackers. The music was arranged and sung by Dave Lambert, who later went on to be part of Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross. But the song had a life of its own and was recorded a few times. The version we're going to play came out as a Kid 78 from our Chicago children's show host named Dick Two-Ton Baker. Here he is on the Carl record label, 1953, and a warning to all you children, if you think an atomic bomb is coming, just duck and cover.
There was a turtle by the name of Bert, and And Bert the turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He'd duck and cover, duck and cover. He'd hide his head and tail and 4 little feet. He'd duck and cover. He hid beneath his little shell until the coast was clear. Then one by one his head and tail and legs would reappear. By acting calm and cool he proved he was a hero too. For finding safety is the bravest, wisest thing to do. And now his little friends are just like Bert, and every turtle is very alert. When danger threatens them, they never get hurt. They know just what to do. They duck and cover, duck and cover. They hide their heads and tails and 4 little feet. They duck and cover. He hid beneath his little shell until the coast was clear. Then one by one his head and tail and legs would reappear. By acting calm and cool he proved he was a hero too. For finding safety is the bravest, wisest thing to do. And now his little friends are just like Bert, and every turtle is very alert. When danger threatens them, they never get hurt. They know just what to do. They duck and cover, duck and cover. They hide their heads and tails and 4 little feet. They duck and cover. They duck, 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 and cover.
That was Dick Two-Ton Baker and a very sick song, Duck and Cover, from a very sick time. Now, of course, we know that ducking and covering won't help you unless you're wearing a hat made out of tinfoil. Roaches have been around for 300 million years, and they have a great reputation as being the only probable survivors of a nuclear war. Obviously, they know how to duck and cover, but in truth, they're only a little bit better at surviving radiation than we are. There's a lot of other insects who will do a lot better, but I guess the cockroaches have a good press agent. Next up, the Blues Rockers and Calling Out Cows, one of the few records that features a tuned cow, and it also mentions margarine. Come on up to the barn, boys.
Calling all cows down on the farm. Calling all cows up to the barn. Cow moved this morning just before day. You better come and get it, we got to give it away. We're gonna give a little milk and give a little cream. We got the best that you has ever seen. Calling all cows down on the farm. Calling all cows up to the barn. We're gonna give a little bud a little margarine. And when you get it, I know that you'll be pleased. Down to the path into the woods. We're gonna get a little something that's mighty good. Last night I heard Papa and my mama say, better stop her before she give it all away. If you want a good steak, come and go with me. I know a place to get the best that you has ever seen. Calling all cows down on the farm. Calling all cows up to the barn. When you hear this song, don't be mad at me. I'm just talking talking about a little milk and cream. Just talking about a little milk and cream. I'm just talking about a little milk and cream.
Margarine. I guess that's a variation on the name Margie. Those are the Blues Rockers on Excello Records, a song written by Early Drain, and they're calling all the cows. Temple Grandin would not be able to call the cows, but she sure could understand them. She was born in Boston, Massachusetts. She's an associate professor at Colorado State. Got her BA from Franklin Pierce College. She got a PhD in animal science at Arizona State. She was also autistic, perhaps the highest functioning autistic person in history. She didn't talk until she was 3.5. She communicated her frustration by screaming, peeping, and humming. They thought she had brain damage, and she needed to be institutionalized. In 1950, she was diagnosed as autistic, and as an adult, it was recognized that she had Asperger's syndrome, a high-functioning form of autism. She used to attack people. She would panic if people tried to touch her, rearing back like a wild animal. She realized that her actions mirrored those of horses and cattle. This insight gave her a special window into those animals' psychology. She was visiting her relative's cattle ranch in Colorado, and she saw the cowboys herding the animals into something called a squeeze chute, the chute that had wooden walls and would clamp around the cow so they could give it a vaccination. As she watched this strange machine, Temple Grandin realized that she'd been craving intense pressure like this her whole life. She built a squeeze chute for herself. It helped her relax and stopped her from feeling afraid. Oliver Sacks called it a hugging machine in a profile he wrote of her. She went on to design a number of systems using her unique insight that used behavioral principles instead of brute force or fear to handle livestock. She improved squeeze chutes and restraint systems. Her breakthroughs in design have made slaughterhouses much more humane, and she's been recognized by farm owners and animal rights specialists as being instrumental in helping the animals. Temple Grandin, from Asperger to Hamburger. Last week I mentioned Memphis Minnie, and I said I had to play one black rat, and I do. Here's Minnie and a tale of one black rat.
Yes, you is one black rat. Someday I'll find your trail. Yes, you is one black rat. Someday I'll find your trail. Then I'll hide my shoes somewhere near your shirt tail. Yes, I've taken you downtown, paid your doctor bill. Now I'm in a little trouble, and you're trying to get me killed. Yes, you is one black rat. Someday I'll find your trail. Then I'll hide my shoes somewhere near your shirt tail. There's these snakes in my kitchen, eat up all the bread. Soon as I left home, started cutting up in my bed. Yes, he is one black rat. Someday I'll find his trail. Then I'll hide my shoes somewhere near his shirt tail. Yes, spit it out. Yes, that rat. I'll catch him someday soon. He must dance in the basement, was seen in my bedroom, trapping for the youngsters. I will catch him someday soon. Yes, he is one black rat. Someday I'll find his trail. big jelly tail.
That was Memphis Minnie, and You Is One Black Rat. It's a song that always makes me think of James Cagney and You Dirty Rat. Well, this is Theme Time Radio Hour, and it's been our Noah's Ark show, and I know we've already done a show about birds, but I think I gotta end with this song anyway. It's sung by a guy named Ferlin Husky, and every time I play Ferlin, I'll tell you about why he changed his name. Ferlin recorded under his own name, and also developed a comic alter ego named Simon Crumb, but there's no comedy in this song. It's all about a snow white dove, and if you're doing a show about Noah's Ark, you better end with a dove. Here's Ferlin Husky on the wings of a snow white dove.
On the wings of a snow white dove, he sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove, when troubles surround us, when evils come, the body grows weak, the spirit grows numb. When these things beset us, he doesn't forget us. He sends down his love on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow white dove. He sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above. Of a dove. When Noah had drifted on the flood many days, he searched for land, in various ways. Troubles he had some, but wasn't forgotten. He sent him his love on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow white dove. He sent his pure, sweet love, a sign from above, on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow white dove. He sent his pure, sweet love, a sign from above, of a dove, on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a dove.
That was Ferlin Husky on the wings of a snow white dove. Noah released the dove from a window in the ark 3 separate times to see if the water had receded enough for Noah and his family to leave the ark. The third time, the dove returned, carrying an olive branch. It was time to repopulate the world.
There seems little room for argument. The animals we have worked into our civilization, they are necessary to that civilization from both the economic and social points of view. We could no more do without them than we could do without our machines.
We gotta get going now. Since we've been talking about animals, there's one guy we really didn't talk about much. His name was Aesop, and he wrote a series of stories, or fables, all about animals. Each of these fables contained a lesson. They all make good sense, and I want to leave you with one of them. This is the story of the 4 oxen and the lion. A lion used to prowl about a field in which 4 oxen used to dwell. Many a time he tried to attack them, but whenever he came near, they turned their tails to one another, so that whichever way he approached them, he was met by the horns of one of them. At last, however, they fell a-quarreling amongst themselves. Each went off to a pasture alone in a separate corner of the field. Then the lion attacked them one by one, and soon made an end of all 4. There's a lesson to be learned in that. United we stand, divided we fall.
For united we stand, divided we fall. And if our backs should ever be against the wall, we'll be together, you and I.
It's been a lot of fun playing animal songs for you, and I gotta go away for a while, but don't think of it as being divided. I'll be back next week. I still consider us all united. I've got your back, and I will be back in 7 short days. I'll see you then. Thanks for listening, and be kind to your 4-footed friends.
listening to Theme Time Radio Hour with your host, Bob Dylan. It's produced by Eddie Gorodetsky and the associate producer is Anita Washington. The continuity is courtesy of Eats Martin and the editor is Damian Rodriguez. Supervising editor is Rob McComber. The research team is Diane Lapson and Bertie Bernstein. Additional research is courtesy of Lynn Sheridan, Kimberly Williams, Robert Bauer, April Hayes, Callie Gladden, Terry Michael, Sean Patrick, and Lynn Sheridan. As always, our librarian is Robert Bauer. The production coordinator is Debbie Sweeney, and special thanks go out to Ray Diaz, Roddy Coco, Shinomiya, Lee Abrams, and the gang down at Samson's Diner. The studio engineer is Tex Carbone. This program was recorded in Studio B of the historic Abernathy Building. 8 stories, each one an adventure. This has been a Grey Water Park production in association with Big Red Tree. This is your announcer, Pierre Mancini, speaking. Join us all again next week for our big clearance sale.
Duck and cover